Discipline is the secret weapon for steering your life in the direction you truly want. Without it, things quickly spiral into chaos. You've got to get things done, but how do you make it efficient and sustainable? Is discipline really achievable? Are your goals realistic? And most importantly, what are the key traits needed to build a life grounded in discipline? Discipline can seem exhausting, even boring at times. It's hard to stay consistent when you don't have a clear reason behind your actions. Discipline isn't just about willpower. It's about knowing why you're doing what you're doing. Without that, even the strongest motivation fades fast. It's easy to stay disciplined when I enjoy what I'm doing. But when it comes to things I'd rather avoid, that's where I used to struggle. I thought discipline meant forcing myself through the grind, no matter what. But over time, I realized that approach only led to burnout. The real shift came when I asked myself, what am I actually working toward? One night I sat down and reflected on what truly mattered. My core values, the kind of life I wanted to live and who I wanted to become. That clarity gave me a purpose. It became my anchor, the thing that kept me going even when it got tough. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics, said it best. People who love what they do wear themselves down doing it. They even forget to wash or eat. When you align your actions with your purpose, discipline isn't forced. It's natural. So, what's your purpose? What's that one thing you care about so deeply that you're willing to put in the work for it? Let's uncover that fire and use it to build discipline like a pro. Stay with me, because we're diving into 8 Stoic rules that will transform how you approach self-discipline. 1. Count on yourself. Count on yourself. That's been my mantra for as long as I can remember. Growing up, I learned early that if I wanted something done, I had to do it myself. It wasn't about distrusting others. It was about knowing that no one understood my needs, my strengths, and my goals better than I did. I always believed I was my best shot at figuring things out because, at the end of the day, I knew me better than anyone else ever could. Don't get me wrong. There were times I leaned on others. Sometimes you need advice, guidance, or even just a listening ear. But even then, I never handed over full control of my life. I trusted myself first. That belief gave me a kind of confidence that no one could shake. It wasn't arrogance. It was clarity. I knew that if I wanted to make progress, I had to be the one to take the first step. One moment stands out to me. I was at a crossroads, juggling a decision that could shape the next chapter of my life. I had friends and family weighing in, each with their own opinions. Some advice was helpful, some just added noise. It was tempting to let someone else steer the ship, to say, okay, you tell me what to do. But deep down I knew that no one else had all the pieces of the puzzle. I sat down, got quiet, and asked myself, what do I want? What feels right for me? That clarity brought me a plan I could trust, and more importantly, it came from within. The Stoics had this figured out centuries ago. Epictetus taught that the key to a strong life is understanding what's within your control and what isn't. When you count on yourself, you take ownership of what you can control, your choices, your actions, your mindset. That doesn't mean you never ask for help, but it does mean the foundation of your life is built by you, not dependent on anyone else. Relying on yourself doesn't make you a lone wolf. It makes you independent. It's about knowing that even if everything else falls apart, relationships, jobs, external validation, you have the tools within to rebuild. You are your strongest ally. Think about a decision or challenge you've been hesitating on, maybe waiting for someone else's input or approval. Instead of looking outward, look inward. Trust yourself to take that first step. You don't need to have it all figured out, just start. When you bet on yourself, you're building a confidence no one can take away. And that's where real freedom begins. If you found this helpful so far, make sure to hit that like button, share it with anyone who might need a little Stoic wisdom today, and subscribe for more content that can help you grow. 2. Shiny Object Syndrome, the silent focus killer. Ever heard of shiny object syndrome? It's that irresistible pull toward anything new, exciting, or different. It's like a cat chasing a laser pointer. Fun at first, but exhausting when you realize you're stuck in a loop. For me, it feels like every new hobby, idea, or project calls out, promising it'll be the one. Whether it's starting a new fitness plan, diving into a fresh skill, or picking up the latest productivity hack, I drop the old for the new before I even get halfway through. Sound familiar? Shiny object syndrome is all about distraction, and it's becoming more common in a world full of endless options and quick dopamine hits. Whether it's entrepreneurs hopping between business ideas or someone abandoning their art project for a new online course, this habit can keep us stuck in a cycle of starting but never finishing. Why is this such a problem? Because as the Stoics taught, great things aren't achieved through bursts of excitement. Seneca said, "Great things are not done by impulse, but by a series of small things brought together." Success isn't about chasing what's shiny. It's about showing up consistently no matter how boring or unsexy the work might feel. How do you beat shiny object syndrome and find focus? Start by understanding this. It's not about forcing yourself to love the grind or avoiding what excites you. It's about balancing passion with discipline and finding consistency in what truly matters to you. Ask yourself, why am I chasing this new thing? Is it because you're genuinely curious? Or is it just an escape from boredom? When you anchor yourself to a meaningful purpose, distractions lose their appeal. For example, if you're passionate about writing, remind yourself why you started in the first place: to share ideas, tell stories, or connect with others. Every job, hobby, or goal has moments that feel repetitive or dull. That's normal. Passion doesn't mean loving every second. It means sticking with it even when the spark fades. It's like planting a tree. You water it daily, even when it's not growing overnight, because you know the long-term rewards are worth it. When you turn your passion into work, it's easy for the joy to fade. If you're not careful, the thing you love can start to feel like a chore. The key is balance. Make time to enjoy your hobby without turning it into a productivity contest. 3. Comfort is the enemy of discipline. Let's be honest, who doesn't love their comfort zone? A cozy bed, a warm meal, and a life free of struggle sound pretty great. But life has a way of shaking things up. Comfort can disappear in an instant, sometimes by choice but often not. And when that happens, are you ready? Or has comfort made you soft, unprepared for the challenges ahead? A few years ago, I decided to challenge myself by experimenting with discomfort. One of the first things I tried was cold showers every morning. Let me tell you, it was brutal at first. I'd stand there staring at the cold water, trying to find any excuse not to do it. But the moment I stepped under that icy stream, I felt something shift. It wasn't just about enduring the cold anymore. It was about proving to myself that I could face something hard and come out stronger. Then I tried intermittent fasting, which I still do. It taught me resilience and control over my impulses. I even cut out sugar for 4 months. That experience showed me that I didn't need the comforts I thought I relied on. I could strip them away and still be okay. The ancient Stoics understood this concept well. They called it voluntary discomfort. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, practiced it regularly. Despite his wealth, he'd wear simple clothes, sleep on the floor, or eat just enough to survive. Why? Because he wanted to prepare his mind for life's inevitable challenges. He knew that by voluntarily facing discomfort, he was building resilience. When you choose to step out of your comfort zone, you're creating a mental safety net. You're teaching yourself that you can survive hard times, and not just survive, but thrive. Life's unexpected hardships won't knock you down because you've already trained yourself to handle them with grace. So, here's a challenge for you. Try one small act of voluntary discomfort this week. It doesn't have to be extreme. Skip your morning coffee for a day, take a cold shower, or walk in the rain without an umbrella. Pick something simple but uncomfortable, something that nudges you out of your usual routine. And while you're doing it, notice what happens. At first, your mind will resist. It'll scream, "Why are we doing this?" Just stop, but push through. Pay attention to how you feel afterward. That sense of strength, capability, and resilience. It's worth every uncomfortable moment. Discipline grows when you choose the hard path on purpose. 4. Master the dichotomy of control. Stop wasting energy on what you can't control. It's draining your discipline. I used to obsess over what people thought of me. Every little comment, side-eye, or lack of response felt like a personal attack. If someone didn't text me back, my mind would spiral. Did I say something wrong? Are they mad at me? It was exhausting. Over time, I realized how much time and energy I was wasting. All that overthinking wasn't solving anything. Instead, it was dragging me down, making me anxious and stealing my focus from things that actually mattered, like my goals and my own peace of mind. So, I decided to let it go. I started asking myself one simple question. Is this something I can control? If the answer was no, like someone's opinion or their behavior, I made a conscious choice to stop giving it my energy. The freedom that came with that decision was life-changing. This concept comes straight from one of my favorite Stoics, Epictetus. He taught that life is divided into two categories, things you can control and things you can't. What's in your control? Your thoughts, your actions, your choices. What's out of your control? Other people's opinions, the weather, traffic, basically everything external. Epictetus believed that the key to a peaceful, disciplined life is knowing the difference and focusing only on what's in your power. It sounds simple, but it's not always easy. Our minds love to dwell on things we can't change. But when you put your energy into what's beyond your control, you're just wasting time and building frustration. By mastering this practice, you're not just letting go of worry, you're actually sharpening your discipline. Why? Because you're focusing all your effort on what you can do. And that's where real progress happens. Here's an exercise that really helped me. Grab a piece of paper and write down one thing that's been stressing you out. Maybe it's a problem at work, a relationship issue, or a big decision you're facing. Now draw a line down the middle of the paper. On one side, write, things I can control. On the other, write, things I can't control. Then break your worry into these two categories. For example, if it's about a work project, you can control how much effort you put in, how you communicate, and your attitude. But you can't control how your boss reacts or what your coworkers think. Once you've done this, focus all your energy on the things I can control column. That's your action plan. The other stuff? Acknowledge it, then let it go. Trust me, this shift will free up so much mental space, and your discipline will thank you for it. 5. Never play the victim. It's easy to spot someone else stuck in a victim mindset. We all know that friend or family member who blames everyone and everything for their problems. But here's the tough part. What about when it's you? Can you catch yourself falling into that trap? And even harder, can you break free from it? Life can be overwhelming. Stress, unfair situations, and exhaustion can make it feel like playing the victim is the only option. But here's the harsh truth. That mindset doesn't fix anything. It keeps you stuck, drains your energy, and slowly chips away at your discipline, the very thing you need to get back on track. I've been there. There was a time I felt completely trapped, like everything was working against me. I blamed my job, the people around me, even luck itself. Why me? I'd ask, convincing myself that the world was unfair. But that attitude didn't change my situation. It just made me feel powerless. It wasn't until I shifted my perspective and started asking, what can this teach me, that things began to turn around. I started focusing on what I could control, setting boundaries at work, managing my time better, and saying no when I needed to. It wasn't easy, but every small step gave me a sense of power and control over my life. That's the thing about playing the victim. It might feel like an escape, but it robs you of your discipline and ability to take meaningful action. Now let me flip the script and share another kind of victim mentality, the kind that drags everyone else down too. I recently dealt with a friend like this. He constantly played the victim to avoid accountability. He treated people terribly, talked behind their backs, and dismissed my feelings as sensitive while claiming he was just being real. Whenever someone stood up to him, he flipped the script, acting like he was the one being wronged. I tried avoiding conflict for a while, ignoring my feelings to keep the peace, but eventually it all came to a head. After a massive argument, I cut ties with him for good, and it was the best decision I could have made. People like that drain your energy, test your boundaries, and disrupt your discipline. Sometimes, the only way to protect your own growth is to walk away. Both of these examples, the victim mindset that traps you and the one that manipulates others, highlight the importance of taking responsibility. This idea is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoics teach us that life won't always be fair, and people won't always treat us kindly, but the real power lies in how we choose to respond. When you stop blaming others or your circumstances, you free yourself to act, and that's where discipline comes in. It's not about waiting for life to fix itself. It's about taking ownership, step by step. Playing the victim might feel easier in the moment, but responsibility is what builds real strength, real discipline, and ultimately, real freedom. 6. Practice delayed gratification. Discipline thrives when you trade short-term pleasure for long-term rewards. Let me tell you about a time I had to make a tough choice. I really wanted this new gadget, something shiny and cool that all my friends were raving about. The problem? I didn't have the cash for it, not without dipping into the savings I'd been building for something bigger, my dream of traveling abroad. It felt like a battle between right now and someday. For days, I debated. I'd scroll through reviews, imagining how awesome it'd be to own that gadget. But in the end, I reminded myself why I started saving in the first place. So, I didn't buy it. Fast forward a year, and that saved money helped me book a trip I'd been dreaming of for years. That experience, seeing new places, meeting new people, was worth 100 gadgets. This lesson stuck with me. Instant gratification feels good in the moment, but it rarely leads to anything lasting. The things that really matter, the ones that make you proud or happy in the long run, usually take time and patience. The Stoics talked a lot about temperance, which is just a fancy word for self-control. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, taught that mastering your desires leads to freedom. When you let go of needing every little thing right away, you gain control over your life. Think about it like this. Every time you say no to something impulsive, you're saying yes to something better down the road. You're training your mind to focus on what really matters instead of getting distracted by every passing temptation. The Stoics believed that discipline isn't about denying yourself joy. It's about choosing the kind of joy that lasts. When you hold back from indulging in the moment, you're actually making space for greater happiness and peace in the future. The more you practice delayed gratification, the stronger it gets. And over time, you'll notice something amazing. The things you used to crave won't hold the same power over you. Instead, you'll feel motivated by your bigger goals, the ones that truly matter. 7. Ignore naysayers. Not everyone's going to get what you're trying to do, and that's totally fine. Let me ask you, have you ever been super excited about trying something new, only to have someone immediately shut it down? I have. When I first set my sights on a big goal, something I felt passionate about, I heard it all. That's not realistic. Why do you think you can do that? What's the point? At first, their words stung. I started second-guessing myself. Maybe they were right. Maybe I should stick to something safer, something that wouldn't make waves. But then, I had a wake-up moment. They didn't see what I saw. They weren't living my life. They weren't responsible for my happiness or my success. So I stopped trying to explain myself to people who didn't understand. Instead, I put my energy into what I could control, my effort, my mindset, and my actions. If it works out, amazing. If it doesn't, I know I gave it my best shot, and I'll have no regrets. Their opinions? They don't matter to me anymore. At the very least, I'll take the lessons I learned and use them to grow. Life's too short to let other people's doubts hold you back. The Stoics had this figured out centuries ago. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic teachers, said something simple but powerful. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The opinions of others? They fall into the category of things outside your control. You can't stop people from criticizing, doubting, or misunderstanding you, but you can decide not to let their words control your actions. Marcus Aurelius put it even more bluntly. The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know anything about the subject. In other words, unless someone's walking your path or knows your journey, their opinion shouldn't hold weight in your mind. When you focus on your purpose and tune out the noise, you build an inner strength that no one can shake. You stop looking for validation from others and start trusting yourself. Here's the truth. Greatness is often misunderstood. People don't always see your potential because they're looking at the world through their own limited perspective. But that's not your problem. Your job is to keep moving forward, even when others don't understand your vision. Think of some of the greatest minds and innovators in history. They were often doubted, mocked, even laughed at, until their results proved everyone wrong. You don't need to explain your dreams to anyone. Let your results do the talking. 8. Honestly review your day. Discipline doesn't end when the day is over. It's built in reflection. There was a time when my days felt like a blur. I'd work hard, stay busy, but I didn't really know if I was making progress or just spinning in circles. That changed the day I started a simple nightly habit, taking a few minutes to look back on my day. At first, it felt weird. I'd sit down with a notebook and ask myself 2 questions. What did I do well today? And what could I have done better? It was eye-opening. One day I realized I'd spent way too much time scrolling on my phone instead of finishing a project. Another day I noticed how a small act of kindness, like helping a coworker, had boosted my mood for hours. This little habit of reflecting each night helped me see patterns. I could celebrate the small wins and pinpoint the stuff holding me back. Over time, it made me more focused and intentional with my actions. The idea of reflecting on your day isn't new. It goes all the way back to the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, was known for his practice of daily reflection. In his journal, Meditations, he would write about his thoughts, actions, and even his mistakes. He used this time to learn from the day, reminding himself of his values and where he could improve. The Stoics believed that growth didn't come from perfection. It came from awareness. By honestly looking at your day, you give yourself a chance to learn, adjust, and get better tomorrow. They saw reflection as a tool for building discipline and living with purpose. You don't need a fancy system to start reflecting on your day. All it takes is 3 minutes and a little honesty. Tonight, grab a notebook or just sit quietly for a moment. Ask yourself 2 simple questions. What's one thing I did well today? What's one thing I could improve tomorrow? Write it down or just think about it. Be real with yourself. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about learning and growing. Maybe you crushed a workout or handled a tough conversation with patience. Maybe you let procrastination get the best of you. Whatever it is, acknowledge it. If you keep this up, even for a week, you'll start to notice patterns. You'll see what fuels your progress and what holds you back. Over time, this small habit can help you build the kind of discipline that sticks. So, give it a shot. End your day with reflection. Celebrate your wins, learn from your losses, and wake up tomorrow ready to be a little better. That's how discipline is built, one honest day at a time. If this video gave you value, please share it with someone who needs to hear this message too. And if you're ready to take your Stoic journey further, don't miss our video, The Art of Silence, 13 Stoic Lessons for a Mindset Shift. It'll change the way you think. Click here to watch now.